Hello everyone, welcome back to Dakota's Political Circle, and today I am finally doing the final Senate prediction video for you guys. And if you figured out the day before this, I did do the gubernatorial in my YouTube short, if you watched the YouTube short, and I'll be doing it in that order. So it'll be the final gubernatorial, then it'll be the final Senate, and then the final presidential. So this is the final Senate prediction video for you guys. So it's the final one of the year. Election day is very, very, very close now. I did record this a little bit earlier than usual because I can get it posted in time for the election. But I am going to be doing the Senate prediction for this video. This is the final one, so there will not be another one after this, no matter what. So this will be my final prediction, and hopefully it does come true. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with the safe blue states. So Washington, you got California, you got Hawaii. I also will talk about certain states that are closer as well. I'll go in depth about them because I mean it is the last prediction, so it's a good idea to do that. Okay, now let's do Virginia. I don't think Virginia is really going to get any closer when it comes to the Senate. New York, you got Maine. All of these states right here, not Virginia though. And then Minnesota. Minnesota's not a swing state when it comes to the Senate because of Klobuchar. And I think that is all of the safe blue. If I missed any, I will definitely go back. Okay, now let's do the safe red states. So you got Utah, Wyoming, Montana is getting included. Montana will be included because if I show you right here, he is outperforming. He is outperforming Tester by a lot. I think he's going to do way better than 6 points, and that's the reason I'm putting it safe. As of right now, he's getting an average of 6 to 8 points, but I do think he overwhelmingly overperforms when it comes to election day. I think it'll be more in line with Trump on that, so I will put it safe. Now, North Dakota, Nebraska. Now, a lot of people were like speculating Nebraska is going to be close or whatever, but I just don't see it happening. I think it's just speculation. So I'm just going to say safe red for Nebraska. You got Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi. You got Florida. I will be putting Florida in the safe red column. I know that it does show that it's probably like a likely scenario, maybe a lean scenario, but I think Florida overwhelmingly overperforms with Scott. I think it'll be close to in line with Trump, but a little bit less because not a lot of people do like Rick Scott in Florida. So we'll see about that. Okay, and then we will do Indiana, and then we have let's do West Virginia because West Virginia it obviously doesn't have Joe Manchin anymore, so it will be a safe red state as of now. It'll be Jim Justice. Okay, and that, I believe, is all of the safe red states that I can figure out here. Okay, now let's do the likely blue states. Now, some of these are kind of interesting. So let's do New Mexico. I think New Mexico is going to be closer in this. I think it'll be more in line with the presidential, so I think New Mexico will be likely. It could be safe, but I think it's going to be in line with whatever the presidential prediction will be. So I'd say likely for New Mexico, in my opinion. And then let's go with Nevada. Nevada is severely going in the direction of the Dems. If you look right here, Rosen is doing very, very well. It's possible it can be lean. Like look at Trafalgar, a Rosen +2. Maybe it's possible that Brown can get closer in the end, but I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to be a likely scenario. I don't see it being even lean. I mean, it's possible it can get that way if Nevada really turns out for Republicans, but no matter what, Brown is not going to win, and I do think it's going to be in a likely scenario for Rosen. And then I don't think actually there's one more. So I'm putting it Maryland in the likely column for blue. I'm not going to do lean anymore. Main reason being is because if you look right here. Alsobrook is doing very, very well, not slowing down at all. I think Hogan overperforms a little bit, so it's a likely scenario, but I just don't see it being a closer scenario than that. A lot of people are going for Alsobrooks in Maryland, so I do think it'll end up being maybe 8 to 9 point margin win for Alsobrook, but I don't think it'll be 11. So I'm not putting safe, but I think it'll be a likely scenario. And I don't think there's any more likely Dem. Already, and now let's do likely Republican. So I got Texas in the likely Republican. That is the only one I have, and the main reason being is Cruz does underperform at the federal level when it is a presidential election year, because Cruz is not liked that much in Texas, but he is doing pretty well in polling. He might underperform a tiny bit, or he could just do it in line with what he has. So I do think it'll be a likely scenario for Ted Cruz. All red is not going to come close to beating Ted Cruz at all. Even when he faced Beto O'Rourke, and that was one he actually could have lost. It was a 2.6 margin, so I'd say it's pretty accurate, a 4-point margin or so. So I'd say likely scenario in my opinion for Texas with Ted Cruz. And so there's no more likely for Republicans. Now let's go to the lean Dem. So I have one lean Dem state here. So it is the state of Arizona, and the reason I put Arizona in the lean column and not like the likely column is Arizona's making a little bit of gains with Lake, but it's really not significant. Like, this is the interesting part here. The latest polling has showed 2 ties, and I don't know how that's possible because it's very, very odd because, okay, Data Orbital is a little bit left-leaning, so I'm kind of surprised that it is a tie. And then Atlas, it makes sense they'd be closer, but a tie, that's very, very surprising to me. So I do think in the end, Kari Lake's going to outperform her polling averages, but I don't think she has enough momentum to win it. I just don't see her actually being able to actually win it in the end. And I don't think it'll be even closer than a lean margin. I do think she's going to overperform. I think she's going to do better than what I think she's just going to do better than what polling has stated. But I do not think she's going to win at all. But it could very much get close. It could be within a 1.2 point margin, but I still think it's going to be a lean margin. I just don't see Kari Lake outperforming Gallego. I don't see Kari Lake getting within point something of Gallego. I just don't see it happening. So I think Arizona will be lean Dem. And then let's go to the lean Trump states. I got one here. So it is the state of Ohio. I think Ohio is going to go to Moreno, and it's going to be in the Republican column. And I know a lot of people are a little bit iffy on Ohio, but if you look here, like I've said for months in a row, even though Brown was in the lead by a bunch, Moreno's starting to actually come around when it's up to close to election day, just like I predicted. And Moreno is within shooting distance of beating Brown. I think it'll be a lean margin. I think he's going to outperform polling by a bunch. But as of right now, Brown leads by like 1 point. But I think Moreno's going to overperform polling by a lot because Trump is taking the state by a bunch. So I think Moreno's going to pull a little bit off of Trump's coattails. So I think it'll be a lean margin in the state of Ohio for Moreno. And then we have the last 3 states here. So let's go with Tilt D. I got one Tilt D state, and it is the state of Michigan. Main reason I say the state of Michigan will be Tilt D is I do think Michigan will be very, very close to the Senate level. I think Michigan's going to get very, very close. I think Slotkin is going to almost lose. I think Rogers can get very, very close to winning, but in the end, it really depends on how much Trump wins Michigan. It really depends. If Trump wins Michigan, it needs to be by maybe 1.5 points to be able to get Rogers over the top in Michigan. That's why I think it's going to be Tilt D. I think Slotkin barely hangs on and pulls it out in Michigan, so it'll be a Tilt D for Dems in Michigan. And then you got these 2 states. I'm gonna do Pennsylvania first. I think Pennsylvania will be Tilt Republican. And I know a lot of people are going to hate this. And the reason I say it, I know this is a big shock to a lot of people, but the reason I'm saying it is Casey is seriously doing awful in polling. I know he's up by 2.3. He's up by 2.3. I mean, he's up. He's up in the average. But McCormick keeps overperforming and getting closer and closer to Casey. Now, it's not as close as it was when it was 1.6, but I do think, even though it's very far-fetched, I do think McCormick pulls it off. Now, it's probably crazy to think. A lot of people are going to go against me for this, but I think McCormick has a massive shot to win. I think he even quite possibly can go in line with Trump, or maybe even overperform with Trump. Remember, McCormick isn't Trump. McCormick is a little bit more of a moderate Republican. So I would say McCormick has a very big shot of upsetting Casey. So I'm going to take that just to take it, because I just think Pennsylvania is going to get rid of Casey once and for all. Now, it's very, very hard to predict. You never know what can actually happen. Remember, Casey is an electoral juggernaut. So if Casey does end up winning, there's no hard feelings, because it's Bob Casey. But I do think McCormick is the candidate that can actually upset Bob Casey. And then let's go with the state of Wisconsin. I am choosing tilt Republican. And the reason being is I think the state of Wisconsin will go exactly in line with presidential. So I think if Trump wins the presidential election in Wisconsin, I think the Senate seat will flip to Havanti as well. So I think Baldwin will end up losing, and it is very, very close as it seems already. So I think if Trump won Wisconsin like close to like a lean, Wisconsin is going red for the Senate. That's how I see it happening. So I do think that's what's going to happen. This is the Senate map I have for my final Senate prediction for the 2024 presidential election Senate prediction. Obviously, we aren't going to have one for, I believe, 2 years. I don't think there's any next year, so I think it would be the midterms where we'd have most of them. But yeah, this is my final one for 2024. So look at it. Hopefully, it comes true. I think the only one that could quite possibly not happen is Pennsylvania. That's the only one I'm a little bit iffy about, but I do think everything else is quite possible. Pennsylvania is an interesting one because of McCormick. McCormick's a very interesting candidate that can really sway moderate voters. So that's the reason I picked him over Casey. So it is a 54-46 margin, exactly what Trump needs to get over the hump of like the Lisa Murkowski's, Susan Collins, the people like that. Getting over the hump of those people. 54-46 would be perfect for Trump to be able to get past those people if he wants to get in legislation. So if this does end up happening, this would be the perfect scenario, other than, I guess, if he wanted to win Michigan. A great scenario for Trump to get basically great bills going through without having to deal with like rhinos. So I think this would be perfect. This would be a great scenario. Even though we don't win Arizona, even though we don't win Michigan in this scenario, I do think this massively helps Trump out a bunch. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to tell you guys what my final Senate prediction video was about, and like basically who I'm choosing and everything like that. Let me know in the comments what you think I did wrong, or if you think mine's exactly how you think it should be. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me with Pennsylvania. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. It is Bob Casey after all. If Bob Casey does end up winning, I'm not going to have any hard feelings. It is Bob Casey after all. But if McCormick pulls it off, McCormick is just insane if that happens. But anyway, guys, I'll have my presidential election prediction the next day. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And then the day after, obviously, is election day. So that's going to be very, very exciting because my live stream's coming out that day as well. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.